Hello, this is the two-player championship, World Championship, the first tournament sponsored by the developer of Through the Ages with real prizes. What the way the tournament works is you're placed in a group of 5 and you play each other player one time in a two-player match, 1v1. Top 2 players advance. I'm probably going to record or do commentary for 2 of my 4 games, and this is the first one I chose. Be playing against Blue here, Kuatz, but I'll probably just call him Blue in this game. This video is going to be fairly beginner focused because I have some friends who are, they're not as familiar with some of the expansion cards, and some of them don't know the game so well, so it's going to be a bit beginner focused. So before we start this, let's have a look at the Leaders and Wonders, since this is a random mix of cards. So when I looked at these Leaders and Wonders, I noticed that there were 2 leaders here in Age 1 that have military action with them. And in Age 2, I noticed there's Bach here, Shakespeare, and Gaudi. So 3 leaders that can give me a lot of culture in Age 2. Bach with theaters, Shakespeare with theaters and printing presses, Gaudi with just a variety of urban buildings. I looked at Age 3 and saw the space flight here. You could build a pretty big one if you get a bunch of science. So with Bill Gates or Einstein, I think you could build a pretty nice one. And internet as well could be pretty big with those leaders. And also the Red Cross, important to note that card. If you can get a lot of food in Age 3, you can score a lot of points. That's what I noticed here. So I was player number 1 of first turn, and I had a pick of these cards here. So basically, I felt like it was a choice between the Library of Alexandria, which is the one I picked, or the Colosseum. The Colosseum gives another military action, so I mean it can be good, but as I said, there's Jan Žižka and Joan of Arc who give a military action, so I feel like it's not as valuable here. And with the Library of Alexandria, I'll be able to get another science production going here. So maybe I can save a population I might use to build a science lab here and use it for something else, like maybe a theater or printing press for these leaders and Gaudi as well. So felt like it was a better choice here. Blue's first turn, he takes the Colosseum. He has one more pick here, and he's going to go for Boudica. Now, I'm more of a 3 and 4 player myself, so I felt like when I first saw this, I thought it's a strange pick, but in 2-player, I think Boudica's a bit stronger because if no one builds any strength, then you can use her ability to give a lot of flexibility, because if she is the strongest, if you're the strongest with her, you'll get food, rock, or science. So as long as no one's building up strength early, it gives you a ton of flexibility. And so when I saw Blue take Boudica, I was immediately looking at these 2 leaders because they both give me a strength increase. Sun Tzu gives 1 strength, and then Alex will give at least 1 strength per military unit. So in reaction to Boudica, like these 2 seem like good choices. So I'm basically limiting the flexibility of Blue with Boudica. So my turn here. I'm looking at those two leaders, and I decide to pick Alexander the Great. Similar reason to why I picked the library. I want to free up population to get culture with those three leaders I spoke about. So Alex has an ability to get another yellow token, and that helps me bring out more population. So I grab Alexander and I elect him. Could use his ability next turn, or I could hang on to him a bit longer. But otherwise, I'll just build a mine, get my rock production going, and increase my population. So I get 2 tactics with knights, so be nice to grab some knights if they come up. Blue will elect Boudica and grab the rich land to maybe upgrade a mine next turn, and grabs urban growth as well to build a lab and increases population. So maybe it's basically grabbing these cards to save some rocks to build up. And yeah, delaying building a mine is interesting, but I guess Blue's hoping to use Boudica to get some rock production. Okay, I'm gonna pause because this is a kind of tricky decision. First is politics. Do I want to use Alexander the Great's ability this turn? The pros of doing that are I can have an extra yellow token straight away. The cons are it means that blue will be able to pick out of these 3 things any one that blue wants. So I decide not to use it yet to deny that flexibility. Then do I want to increase population again here? Like I do want to start work on my wonder, but do I want to increase population again? The problem if I increase population again is I'll be getting into, I'll clear this portion of my yellow bank, so suddenly I'll start losing food. Like my population is such that my people are so numerous that they're going to start eating more food. So if I don't increase population, I'll keep creating 2 food. Otherwise, I'll only create 1 food. And then I guess one option is I could have built another mine here, but like I said earlier, I want to save this population for other stuff. So I decided to work on this library. And then the other thing I noticed coming down is that Code of Laws. I mean, this is a good card in 3 or 4 player, but I think it's better in 2 player because I'm pretty sure there's only 1 of them in 2 player. Yeah, see, there's only 1, and getting that next civil action is pretty nice. So I'll grab this even for 2, and with my last action, I do decide to increase population because I don't have much else I want from this card row. Nothing else is really interesting. These AJ cards aren't as valuable as the age 1 ones. So blue here will put an event in and open up the development of agriculture, getting 2 food. So that makes me feel pretty good because I did increase my population, so I missed out on some food, but I get it back straight away, so not a big deal. Blue decides to build a warrior because he wants to be the strongest to get Boudica's ability, which makes sense. And he also got that for free because of Boudica's ability. If you're one of the weakest, you get 2 resources for military. And then Blue's not sure about these cards either. I mean, there's the alchemy, but he decides to leave it and instead just builds another mine. So he'll have 4 next turn, and he'll increase his population and grab hold cultural heritage for extra science even. Still doesn't have that mine, so it's still a bit limited. But next turn, unless I increase my strength, he'll be able to get a rock from Boudica. So on my turn, I decide to use Alex's ability this turn because I want to get that extra yellow token down here. It also means I produce more food again. And he's not actually doing anything to prevent Boudica from getting those bonus resources or science, so I don't see the point in keeping him right now. And I decide to finish the library. I can see here that if I finish, then I can grab the Universitas once I finish. So I can finish the library and then go for this Universitas Carolina. And that fits into my plan of devoting my population to, the dramas and the printing presses to get culture instead of putting them into labs. Downsides of this, I mean, alchemy's here, I could go for that. I mean, but it seems pretty good. I guess I don't have a lot of resource production, so it might take a while to finish this, but it's a good wonder to have and it works well with my plan. I pick up, I have a good harvest. I'm wondering about playing that. But I discard one of these tactics because I have 2 of them. I draw a vast territory, call to arms, strength event, and a territory. I don't have any boat cards yet, so it doesn't seem that good to play that. And then blue, once he finishes this Colosseum, will have an extra military action, which will help if he wants to go for colonies. So the vast territory doesn't seem very desirable to play if he has that extra military action. On blue's turn, he'll keep working on his Colosseum. And then he grabs the engineering genius. So this will help him finish this last stage for free. So that's pretty nice. Means he can't grab the knights. So instead he'll grab another yellow card, he'll grab reserves. Which makes sense because he is still on only 2 mines, so he's not producing a lot of rocks. I'm just checking. Yeah, see, he gained 1 rock with Boudica's ability, so he's kind of relying on Boudica for his 3rd rock every turn. So by not taking the knight, he also takes corruption, which is not very nice, but I mean, I guess he's getting some of that back with the engineering genius. Okay, so my turn. I'm deciding between Good Harvest to seed or Call to Arms. And eventually I decide Call to Arms instead. Like, I want to play an event right here to, put some pressure on him. But Good Harvest doesn't seem very desirable because I already have a ton of food. I have 5. And Call to Arms, I mean, I'm hoping I can get stronger than he is. He didn't take any knights yet. All he has is Colosseum, so maybe I can get stronger eventually. And this development of civil life comes up, and I feel pretty happy with that because I have 5. You can't see it here, but I have 5 science, so I can develop this using the development of civil life. So that's what I'll do. develop the code of laws. So now I have 5 actions. I'll take the knights for cheap, just 1 action. I guess that was another reason to play the called arms. I have these tactics, so it seems not bad to take this, even though my science is low. And because my science are low, I decide to take this breakthrough. I don't take this one, which is strange. I wonder why I did that. Oh, I was denying this breakthrough to him, because otherwise it would land on his turn for 1. So I deny the breakthrough, and I take a rich land, kind of planning to maybe grab this irrigation, potentially, or to use with iron, if I get it. And then I need to get out of corruption, so I build a lab for more science. I'll need that science for these knights, right? So, makes sense. And what did I discard here? I discarded the vast territory because he has that 3rd military action coming on, so it doesn't seem that desirable. I do draw my first colonization card, which is nice. And let's see what cards are revealed here. So 2 military leaders come up, Jan Žižka and Joan of Arc. I'm interested in both of them because I do want that military action. In the meantime, blue seeds an event and opens the trade routes. I mean, this is pretty nice for me because I'm needing science for those knights. But for him, for me as well, I might have some corruption issues. I'm floating 8 food right now, so that might cause some problems. But let's see what blue decides to do with all this stuff. Press play here. Doesn't seem to be working, but I wonder what he is going to do. Okay, there it goes. So he finishes the Colosseum with his engineering genius for free. He's got a lot of cards for 1 that are pretty nice. But first he'll build his lab using his rich land. And then the swordsman. I mean, that makes sense. He's got 2 warriors already. And he'll grab the irrigation. Still has a lot of science. Wonder what he's going to spend it on. I mean, these, of course, but I mean, monarchy was available. He could develop that next turn, but he already has 3 military actions from the Colosseum. And he'll build another warrior, I guess, to get out of corruption. Or he wants to be strongest, maybe. No, it's to get out of corruption. Okay, so my turn. Very happy to grab either Joan of Arc or Jan Žižka. But in the end, I decide to take Žižka because the Joan of Arc is not looking as good let me pause, for him. Because he already has a happy face from the Colosseum. So Joan's better if you have a temple, and he's not very incentivized to build a temple because he already has that happy face from the Colosseum. So part of the reason I take Žižka is because Joan is worse for him, and he'd be more happy to take Žižka. Right. Then I elect him. I don't have a leader. I need a leader right now. And then I need to get out of corruption. So, gotta use up this food. So I increase population twice. And build a warrior. And with all these with these 2 warriors, it's kind of looking more like using this phalanx tactic with Jan instead of the medieval army. So maybe I could build 2 knights, and then Jan Žižka has an ability where the farms count as warriors. So I can use these two, imagine these two farms are warriors. So I'll have 4 warriors, and if I build 2 knights, I can fulfill this tactic twice. So that's sort of my plan. And I end up discarding this um, medieval army. I don't need that if I'm going to go for that. Pick up some aggressions and some colonization cards. So blue seeds again, putting a lot of events in there, opens the science. And I'm wondering if he's going to go for this Great Wall because he has all of these warriors. And the Great Wall gives bonuses to warriors. And he also has the swordsman. But instead, he plays the hare. He gets more science, and he goes for the knights. So he maybe has a tactic with the knights, and he increases population and builds one. And I'm wondering here if, like, why he played that cultural heritage for science, and I'm wondering if it's because he's planning to grab an early age 2 government, like a republic or constitutional monarchy. He's saving up his science. So now the deck has flipped over, and I only have call to arms in there, so I need to get stronger. So I decide to start working on my plan of getting knights. So I want to build 2 of them eventually, but I'll start with 1 this turn because I only have 5 resources. I need 6 to build 2, and I'll reveal my tactic, which puts me at 7, so I'm in the lead now. I didn't want to play politics, like play this good harvest, because I was the weakest, and I don't know what events he put in. He could have put some strength-based events. And then for the rest of my turn, I have iron. Iron is here, so I definitely want that. And I can even develop that next turn, and I use the rich land to upgrade it. But here, I think I make a little bit of a mistake. I grab drama, which of course was my plan to get some of these culture buildings. But the problem is I'm going to run into some issues with my happy faces because the age is going to end soon. So I'll lose these 2 yellow tokens, and dramas only give 1 happy face, and religions do 2. So I think looking back, I should have grabbed this bread and circus instead of the drama. This is a bit too risky, right? Because if I get a bread and circus and build that instead, then I'll free up another population to use. If I don't, then that population will be discontent, like you see here. And with my last action, I increase population again. So yeah, I think that's a mistake. I decide to discard one of these plunders because I have 2 of them. So the age does end here. Maybe we'll pause after we see that he takes the cartography. Looking at the situation here. So he's got a lot of science saving up here. I still haven't done much work on my universitas, and my resource production hasn't been upgraded. But I mean, I'm feeling pretty good here because I can get my if I can get my second knight here, I'll be really quite strong, and I can start playing out some politics and start upgrading my iron. And then later on, I can start these dramas and build my wonder. But on his turn, he takes the cartography. So I'm wondering if he's going to be going for colony play. He also grabs Isabella, which is a colony. So he develops the cartography, and he grabs Isabella of Castile. So that's a colony-ish leader, because you can pay rocks to increase your colonization bonus. This is good for him as well because she gives an extra rock production. And he's got a happy face issue here, as you can see, and he will deal with it by disbanding a warrior, but then he upgrades twice. He's not the strongest, but he's trying to keep up, I guess. So on my turn, um, I'm happy to see he left this bread and circuses because I want to be able to use this worker here um, for a knight. Sorry, go to my civilization. I want to use one of these workers as a knight. And I can't just put the worker onto a knight without causing a uprising. So um, basically, I should have got this last turn, but oh well. I mean, maybe it's good that I just grabbed the drama. He wasn't interested in the bread and circuses, so I get it for one here. So I will grab that, develop it, and then put a worker on it. So suddenly now this worker can go wherever I want it to go. So I'll put it on a knight next turn. And in the meantime, I'll develop iron and upgrade it once. So already you can see this code of law is paying off. That extra action is really helping me start investing in my economy and fixing my problems with my civilization. And I discard the good harvest because I missed out on irrigation. Like my food production is my main weakness right now. I'm producing 0. He has the irrigation, so it doesn't seem good to play that card in. That will just help him. And I draw 2 tactics, the 2 cannon tactic fortifications and also this conquistadors, which I'm quite happy with. It's not the best tactic, but I have those units, and I can get this swordsman next turn, so that it won't be an outdated tactic. The blue will adopt my phalanx tactic. He'll become stronger. He will elect Isabella, and he grabs the last iron and starts going for food, which makes sense. I notice Bach coming down the card row, which is part of my plan. I do have dramas, so I'm pretty happy to see him. It's kind of tricky him showing up so early because it can be really strong, but I'm relying on Zizka for a lot of strength here. So I think when I saw him, I planned to grab him, but maybe not elect him straight away. I mean, I don't even have drama developed yet, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to switch into him straight away. He grabs so on my turn, I skip politics because I was the weakest before I built this knight, but now I'm the strongest. So next turn I'll be able to play politics. I'm happy to build this knights because now I get 2 culture from Zizka and I'm the strongest. So that feels pretty nice. I notice I see this engineering genius for 1, which makes me pretty happy because this will allow me to build 1 stage of the Universitas, and then I'll have 6 saved up, so I'll be able to finish that next turn. It'd be nice to finish that. So I grab that. And then the swordsman makes sense to grab because I have the conquistadors tactic. And then with my last action, it was a bit tricky. I want to finish upgrading my iron, but I don't have spare rocks to do that if I plan to finish this wonder. So I could have gone for strategy, but I don't feel like I have enough science because I plan to develop these two technologies. Scientific method I could grab, but I'm kind of substituting scientific method for this wonder. Like it's providing me with science. Once I finish it, it gives me 2 per turn. So I decide to skip those. Wave of Nationalism, I've already strongest, and I'm going to increase my rock production, so it doesn't interest me as much. So I reach up to this expensive section and grab the efficient upgrade so that I can get this iron going quicker and still finish this wonder next turn. And I decide to discard the cannon tactic. And so I leave him, I leave him the scientific method, and I wonder if he's going to take it. I mean, he already has a lot of science, but it's a nice card to get anyway. So all I have left is these colonization cards, which might come in handy to bid him up for colonies, and that conquistadors. And Ravages of Time is an event that I'm sort of happy to see because it gives me something to play that's not too bad. Let's see what he does. So he does grab the scientific method, and he also starts his iron. So bit behind me, but not by much. And he fixes his happy faces with a temple. He elects to let this strategy go, which makes sense because he's just really low on science. Grabbing the scientific method seems pretty good. It's cheap, only 1 action, but I mean, he's just pretty low in science, so it's going to take him a while to build up enough science for that. Okay, so my turn. I decide to play out that the Ravages of Time. It's not the best to lose the library, but I am the strongest, and I'm kind of hoping for that call to arms that I put in. So, but instead, the border conflict comes out, which he must have put in, because I didn't put this in. And this feels pretty good to open this, because I get 3 extra rocks, and he has to destroy something. So because I get these 3 rocks, I can actually finish the Universitas without using that engineering genius. So I could save this for another wonder. And there actually are some nice other wonders in Age 2, like the railroad. Harvard College doesn't appeal to me as much. Statue of Liberty could be good, especially because I'm running low on food. And Louvre Museum for culture. So it's nice to save this. And then I use my efficient upgrade to upgrade this for free. It's nice to upgrade. I mean, it's worth it to upgrade the iron as quickly as you can. And then I decide to grab Bach for my plan of going into culture eventually. Gaudi is an option, but I feel like Bach has more potential for culture with my setup and my drama. And I discard one of the colonization cards. I have enough science now to go for a new government next turn, like the constitutional monarchy or republic. So that's kind of cool if they come up. So blue decides to take the opera for 2. I mean, he could have waited on that, but maybe he's deciding to go, he wants to go for Shakespeare or for Gaudi. But then he also takes breakthrough. I mean, he needs science, but it's a bit confusing because I feel like the efficient upgrade would be pretty nice for him to upgrade one of these to get his economy going. But I mean, he does need science, so the breakthrough makes sense. And he actually takes corruption for that. So I am strongest again, so I do seed an event, and this time I seed the prosperity, which gives me food based on my happy faces. So I do this because I'm low on food. It will be in the next deck, but it could still be good in the future. So I see that and open the new deposit. So I'm very happy I upgraded my iron when I did, because I get 5 rocks here. And I decide it's time to sort of put pressure on him with culture. I'm already at 19, producing 4 a turn. He is at, let me just move that out of the way. He is at 10, producing 0. So I want to increase my lead. So I switch into Bach, maybe a bit early, but that's what I decide to do. And I use Bach's ability to move a lab to theater to save some rocks and start using Bach to his full ability. But I need to keep going on my strength, right? Like I don't want to be weakest, so I also develop the swordsman and upgrade once to become strongest again. And I use the last of my rocks to upgrade to get out of corruption. And I'm looking at what card I want to take with my last action and don't need to upgrade my iron anymore. I don't see selective breeding to upgrade my farm, so I decide to grab this reserves and I'll use that for food to get another population out. And I can support that because I have that other happiness from the theater. And I'll need to keep this tactic because eventually I could turn into, I could even activate this tactic now, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to reveal that when I'm already the strongest. Unless I'm going for a war or something. And he blue seeds again and opens my call to arms. Which, I feel pretty good about. He does get military actions, but he only has 4 actions, and losing 2's pretty annoying. So what does he decide to do with those actions? Just have to wait till this processes. Does he have enough science for scientific method? I don't think so. So instead he decides to, he has a lot of rocks, right? He's got 15 of them. He decides to grab this wonder, Harvard College, which he can finish next turn. He'll take some corruption. He'll take 4 corruption, but he should still be able to finish it because he has reserve. So that's 8. So he'll have exactly enough to finish it next turn. I guess that's all he can really choose to do. He decides to abandon Shakespeare, but he doesn't have a library. The journalism is up here, so it's a bit risky to take Shakespeare. So he'll stick with Isabella for now. And what the big story on this turn is, I don't have an event to play, so I skip politics, but the selective breeding appears here. And in 2-player, there's only 1 copy of this card. So, I could have waited. He might not have wanted to deny me it because he's already got irrigation, but I decide I'm feeling like I'm ahead here, so I don't want to take any risks. It's not worth taking any risks. So I'll grab it for 3 and I will upgrade it. I will develop it and upgrade it once and upgrade this warrior to get out of corruption. So I feel it's important to get this food production as quickly as possible, rather than like maybe next turn I could have got it for cheaper, but I didn't feel like it was worth the risk at this stage. I discard one of my Age 1 colonization cards. And what's interesting here is the constitutional monarchy shows up for 3. He doesn't have enough science for it. He has got 6. And he wants to finish the college, which he does. But I next turn will have enough science, so this definitely interests me. But blue finishes the Harvard College, so he's got 5 science production. That seems pretty good. And he'll decide to continue to upgrade his economy. He still only has 4 actions. It's really limiting him, so he'd definitely be interested in this constitutional monarchy. Unfortunately, he'll only have 11, so he can't develop that until his following turn. Right. I decide here I need to start thinking about the next age because age 2 is coming to an end. So in age 3, we have the International Red Cross. So increasing my food production is pretty good. And I'm wondering also about saving some science for computers because there's Bill Gates and Einstein, 2 leaders that work really well with computers. But I do feel it's a priority to upgrade that. So I finish upgrading my farms, and I'm up to 4 production of food. I'll increase my population, and I decide to grab the constitutional monarchy, which I can develop next turn. And with my last action, I'll grab frugality, again saving me on food when I increase population, which I'll need to do to start building up more dramas. So, I mean, I guess here I could have played a bit greedier and built more theaters, but I decide to, again, play a bit more conservative, try to get my food going for that International Red Cross. Still don't reveal my tactic. So the age ends. He has to discard a reserves and he loses his leader. He will start his production of opera, but let me just pause and we'll have a look at things here. So yeah, I'm developing a pretty big culture lead here. He's going to have to do something to match my culture if he wants to win this game. And the 2 options basically are go for military or go for more culture than me. And I think by building this opera, he's trying to race me on culture, which doesn't seem like a very good choice considering I have J.S. Bach and I already have a theater. But maybe he feels like he can do it. Also, he's low on happy faces, and the opera provides 1 happy face, so there's that. I mean, he still has this unhappy worker. He grabs riflemen in preparation for maybe some wars or military, and he'll increase his population to deal with that angry worker. Okay, so I do develop the constitutional monarchy, but a couple interesting cards show up already. Bill Gates. So that makes me feel a bit worried because he has the scientific method. So if he gets Bill Gates and activates his scientific method, that would be really strong. You get a lot of rocks from that. And then the mechanized agriculture comes out, which is kind of annoying because he would, if he gets this card and starts upgrading his farms, he'll be in a really good position to start work on the Red Cross and get a lot of points from that. So yeah, I kind of wish this card had come out a bit later, and Bill Gates as well. So I kind of consider going for the mechanized agriculture, but it's a bit expensive on science, and I already have selective breeding, so it seems a bit overkill. So instead, I actually decide to grab the Statue of Liberty. Because I have my constitutional monarchy going, it's going to give me 2 culture because it produces culture based on the level of the government. It gives me yellow tokens, which will help with happy face problems and help me increase my population more easily. I also have a ton of rocks I gotta spend, so I actually have enough rocks to finish it this turn. So I actually decide to do that. Using my engineering genius 2, I finish that straight away. So it's a big turn for me here. And I'll grab breakthrough because my science is looking pretty low. I'm hoping he doesn't get right into Bill Gates. So he's got enough science for Republic. He needs actions. He's been stuck on 4 this entire game. So he'll take that and develop it straight away. It means he's low on science, but he has enough to build scientific method next turn. But instead he grabs the computers and Bill Gates. So that's his endgame plan. Bill Gates. It's good. The only problem is he's missing 2 science. Unless this last event is scientific breakthrough, which I'm kind of suspecting it is. I mean, otherwise, why would he grab the computers when he already has scientific method? But on my turn, I can't really use these aggressions or wars that I picked up. So, and I can't play politics, so I have to skip. And so I decide to put more pressure with culture production. So I build a theater, increase population, build a 3rd theater. So I'm up to 15 culture. Patriotism, a good card to defend myself with. And I actually grab the other patriotism for 3 actions just to further defend myself. So my plan is for my defense is to use this conquistador's tactic and just build a bunch of these units that are cheap because I have good food production and good population. And then maybe I could get air forces to back them up. And I draw impact to population, which will be pretty nice. So on his turn, he goes for Bill Gates. He needs to get a leader. And then he actually skips the computers, which, I mean, it makes more sense to go for the scientific method. So maybe he miscalculated his science. And he'll upgrade once and twice. So now he's at 9 rock production and 9 science. So he's kind of activating Bill Gates here. And we'll see what he can do with him. He'll take engineering. So I'm wondering if he's planning to go for some wonders, which makes sense with all his rock production. And he'll take tanks, so he can upgrade. He can get into an age 3 tactic with these, such as the shock troops. So I wonder if he's going for that. He doesn't increase his strength, so I'm still the strongest. So that means I can play out that impact to population. And that's what I do. So this event I was expecting to see the scientific breakthrough to get more science, but it turns out it's the Crusades. So I mean, he's in a tough position here. He knew this was coming up, but there's not much he could have done. He really wanted to activate Bill Gates. So I get even more culture. So this turn, I'm thinking that like how can he win this game? And the only way he can win this game is if he does a big war. So once I decide like what I need to do here is just prepare for military. So the Air Forces comes out, so I'll grab that. I'll grab the military buildup, increase my population twice, and then I build 2 knights. I mean, this kind of hints, it should hint to him that I have this conquistador tactic. And I'll discard one of my aggressions. So I'm up to 16th strength. So he actually puts a event in, and he reveals my Ravages of Time. I mean, this is not good for him because he loses the Colosseum, which gave him another military action, so he'll be down to just 2 military actions. It's kind of annoying for me because I lose my Library of Alexandria, but I think it's worse for him because he only has 2 military actions. That's going to make it super hard for him to do any military push. He has happiness problems again, so he builds one of these professional sports, and he'll grab the military theory, which he can develop next turn, and modern infantry. So he's gathering more military techs for a military push. But he's just falling further and further behind here. And so I decide here, like I need to, like I could just keep going culture, but I have those air forces and he only has 2 military actions. I mean, he will develop the military theory, but he can't develop anything else because he has exactly 11 science. So I figure like I might as well just put a ton of pressure on him. So I declare war of culture on him. And I will use my patriotisms to build an air force and another air force and the conquistadors tactic, so that's 43 strength. A lot of pressure, and I'm just so far ahead in culture with Bach. And I'll grab movies with my last card. I'll have enough science to develop it next turn, and I have all those theaters I can upgrade. He plays an event. Prosperity comes out, so this is nice for me. I get even more food. Not sure what he was hoping for there, but he has to defend my war, so he gets military theory, takes a revolutionary idea. He can develop that straight away with his Harvard College, so maybe I didn't think of this, but he can use that to develop the rifleman, which he does, and he starts defending as best he can, and he does have the shock troop, so he goes up to 27. Efficient upgrade he can use for some of these buildings, the mines and farms, but still he can only muster 27 strength, so I steal 21 culture. He's in a really tough position, and I actually have an aggression that I can try as well, and so I take I think mostly, yeah, I take most of his rocks, so he only has 5 left. So here I decide to build an arena because I'm getting low on my yellow bank, and I decide to upgrade my theater into a movies for even more culture, and I grab a satellites just in case maybe he played the impact of progress, and I'll take Churchill because at the very least he's going to give me 3 culture using his ability. So at this stage, blue decides to resign. I mean, he had no chance to win from here. I thought I played pretty well in this game, but definitely blue made some mistakes. I think I had a good plan from the beginning, and mostly I made the right choices. I think he had some issues here. But yeah, overall, I think I had a better plan than he did, and he didn't take advantage of some of the advantages he had. So that's the first game I'm doing commentary for. I'm going to try to do maybe one more when the next round of games come. Thanks for watching, everybody.